Hi guys,
guys.
welcome to another episode of our project analysis. Today the project that we are going to be talking about is Dunearn
Dunearn
House.
House.
So for today's content, we will address a few concerns that we hear from the buyers on the ground and project information as well as layout analysis. So the first problem that we hear on the ground is that new launches in this area do not make money. Second is that resale freehold projects are cheaper. So a lot of resale freehold in that area are selling cheaper than Dunearn House. So how would this actually impact Dunearn House? And small units in this area do not make money, right? So let's go. Okay, before we start, if you have any questions, you can scan these QR codes and contact us if you need any help with property, whether it's for Dunearn House or in general. So for this project, the first problem is new launch in this area do not make money. I think your clients maybe got mentioned to you as well.
Yeah, a lot of my clients say that the area don't really make money. So today we will solve this problem.
We do not know whether we can solve it, but we will explain why this is happening. Let me show you guys. So in the past in this area, the last leasehold I think was 4th Avenue Residences. So that one was 99 years leasehold.
Yes.
Then we have nearer to the D21 site, which is Mayfair Modern and Mayfair Garden.
Yep.
So these projects, honestly, if we look at the profitability, they still got earned, but just that they don't earn as much as we expect them to be right?
Especially in the OCR areas, they earn more than what we see here.
Yeah. So to explain this, right, now Dunearn House is also in this 4th Avenue, this stretch of area. So why we feel that maybe Dunearn House is something that you can consider is because, right, last time you see over here, for 4th Avenue Residences, then we compare with Treasure at Tampines.
And because they also launched it same time.
We are going to compare it to another project that is in Tampines that recently launched.
Yes.
Right? So I explained to you, if you see 4th Avenue when they launch and Treasure at Tampines when they launch, right, the price gap is 80% because 4th Avenue launched at 2004, Treasure at Tampines launched at 1003. So last time, if you are someone buying for own stay, you will likely go for Treasure, right?
Yeah, because of the quantum wise, it's cheaper.
And if you are an investor, you might go for 4th Avenue, right?
Yes.
But can I also say that you might go for Treasure at Tampines because the price gap is 1,001.
Yeah.
So quite a huge price gap.
Yeah, which means like if a 2-bedroom, how much will it cost?
If let's say 1,000 square feet, 8,000 PSF, the 2-bedroom 600 square feet, then it's about 600,000.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Difference.
Yeah.
And because the rental difference might not be so much, right?
Yeah.
So for investors, maybe they will buy somewhere in Treasure at Tampines or that Tampines area because it's much cheaper. But what I'm trying to say is last time the price gap is huge.
Yes.
So buyers may be more inclined to go for Tampines area, whether it's for own stay or investment. But right now, what we are seeing, right, for Dunearn is that Pinery, they sold an average price at $2,546. Then they got the highest transacted one at 2,728 PSF. But currently, what we are hearing is that Dunearn will average about 3,000 PSF.
Yes.
So if Dunearn average at 3,000 PSF, then the gap between Dunearn House in Bukit Timah versus Tampines, which is Pinery, is only 18%. So from 80%
To 18%.
to 18%,
Actually a lot.
it's quite a lot of difference.
Yep.
So now the question is, if you are an investor, will you buy Dunearn House or would you buy Pinery?
I might consider Dunearn based on the
a
current
much higher
situation.
chance that you will consider
because we are
Dunearn.
holding a D10, like D10 and versus Pinery, which is in Tampines.
Yeah.
If I'm an investor, I likely will consider D10.
Yeah, not saying that Pinery is not good. Pinery is also a very good project. It's just that in terms of rental now, because the price difference is not as huge as last time, so your rental yield also goes up.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's say you buy a unit in Pinery, the rental you get versus the rental you get for Dunearn House, maybe it makes sense to go for Dunearn House now because the price gap is only 18%. Then I give you another example. This is Park Star and 4th Avenue Residences. So we are using 4th Avenue as the anchor.
Right.
Okay. So in the past, Park Star is RCR, rest of Central Region.
Which is quite popular also.
This project earned quite a lot of money also.
Yes.
So back then when they launched, right, the price difference was 41%. 4th Avenue is 2004 lah, the time they're selling, right?
And Park Star is only 2006 to 2007.
So the gap is of $700 and about 41%. But if you look at the gap now between Dunearn House, let's say they average at 3,000 versus somewhere that is similar to Park Star, which is Bella Bay. Park Star is in a better location than Bella Bay in terms of the distance to central area.
Yes.
But Bella Bay got the sea views lah. If we compare these two examples, the difference between Dunearn House and Bella Bay is only 4%.
And Bella Bay is already sold 72%.
In the past, the gap was 41%.
Yeah.
Right. Now the gap is 4%. So again, it goes back to whatever I just said. My point is that the price gap now makes more sense for buyers to enter into Dunearn House. Not saying that Bella Bay or Pinery is not good. It's just that for different purposes, for investment purposes, the price gap between Dunearn House and Bella Bay and Pinery is now very attractive.
Yes.
Very attractive, right? Which means that there has to be a price gap between different regions. And right now in the market, what we are seeing is that some RCR projects are hitting CCR prices, right? Which means that the price gap between RCR and CCR has narrowed. But in my opinion, it will not stay this way forever because we are seeing future plots in the CCR area that has been awarded to developer at much higher prices.
Yeah, like recently, right? We saw the news.
For example, Newton.
Yeah.
Newton
So
was
crazy.
the one that I think a lot of people were talking about it. So 2008. So how much do they have to launch? They have to launch average maybe 3.5.
3.5 range.
So with all those launches coming up, then I think the price gap will go back to normal again. So in this video, I just want to share that in the past, projects like 4th Avenue Residences, maybe they don't profit as much because price gap is significant between RCR project and OCR project. But right now, for Dunearn House, if they average at 3,000 PSF, the price gap is much smaller, which means that there is a chance for you to enter into D10 at a price that is reasonable so that there is also more room for growth or potential going forward. And because 4th Avenue was probably the last launch that is leasehold in this area, which means that for a few years there hasn't been any leasehold launch. And Dunearn House is actually quite interesting because it is part of the Turf City transformation.
Yeah.
It's like the first one to be part of the Turf City transformation. Because of this narrowing price gap, there is actually quite a lot of potential for this project as well.
Right now, we have another example, which is our Daintree and versus the Seaside Residence.
Daintree is nearer to D21. So that time when Daintree was selling, right, it's about 1,600, 1,500. And it's actually quite similar to Seaside Residences price, which means that the gap is also small. Then we look at the profit of Daintree. Actually, they got quite a decent profit.
Yeah,
Of course,
actually
not as much as Seaside Residences because Seaside, it has the sea view and all. But what I'm trying to explain to you here is that when you are buying a project that is in more central location, if the price gap between this project is quite close to maybe a project in the OCR region, there's a chance that you can actually make good profit. It's all about entering at the correct price. Just now we use OCR versus Dunearn, so the gap is huge. Now we use somewhere that is closer to Dunearn to compare and show you the result, how much they earn. So Daintree, decent profits versus Seaside because their price gap is very narrow, which means that buyers at that point in time, they can decide between whether they want to buy Daintree or Seaside Residences.
Actually, if you compare Daintree and Dunearn, they are actually considered a different place because Daintree is at the fringe of D21 while Dunearn is really at D10. So based on this, right, they are actually not the same product to compare with but they already can earn.
So what Sherry is trying to say is that even though Daintree is not as central as Dunearn, but because they bought near to the price of Seaside, which means that at that point in time, it seems like quite a good deal because you are buying more central location compared to Seaside, yet you get to enter at the same price. And that is what we want to explain to you because this is what is happening in Dunearn. If they average at 3,000, there will be some units that will start from maybe 2,008. then there will be some units that will transact at 3,003 to get an average of 3,000. Which means that if you can get a unit in Dunearn at 2,008 versus a unit in Pinery at 2,007, there is actually a good chance that you might also profit. But of course, it depends on what kind of unit you buy. Yeah, and that will lead us to the next problem, which is resale freehold projects are cheaper.
Yeah, because a lot of freehold over there are cheaper than the leasehold.
So if let's say today you are a buyer, then you buy a leasehold project, then you realize that there are a lot of resale in that area that is freehold that is selling cheaper than you.
Yes.
You will be concerned also, I'm sure. And this is what is happening at Dunearn.
And I think buying Dunearn, a lot of people want near to the MRT station also. So we will show you what we find in the data itself.
If we look at the list of projects that is freehold within 1 km to 6th Avenue and Tan Kah Kee MRT, right? These are the projects.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing that we want to highlight to you is that if you look at the number of units in these projects over here, you will see that most of them are what?
Very small. We call it boutique project.
So for Dunearn, it has 380 units, which is considered a proper size project. And if we look at the examples from other areas whereby there are a lot of freehold that is smaller in size or boutique project, right, versus leasehold that is selling more expensive in the same area or nearby, right, we will see over here, okay, the gap between Asana freehold TOP in 2019, they are selling at about 2004, 2005, some even at 2002. So if Dunearn launches at average of 3,000, the difference will be 27%. So this is the biggest concern. Because if there are so many cheaper units available that is freehold, buyers will choose, instead of buying Dunearn, then they go and buy the freehold, right? But because all these projects, like the Asana for example, is a small project. And if you look at the reference, we have taken another example.
We took D15 as an example because there's a lot of small boutique projects there.
In the Telok Kurau area. So we took Baywin Residences versus Vela Bay. The difference is 21% because Baywin right now transact about 2003. Vela Bay average about 2008. Right. But the thing is that, should we be worried that Baywin Residence is selling at cheaper? I don't think that there is a huge concern because this Baywin is actually a smaller project. So why usually smaller projects, they launch at a lower price even though it's a freehold? First, because of the smaller size, right? Then they do not have a lot of units to actually put the loading on the price. Because they cannot have one unit that is 2003 PSF, then the next unit that is at 2004 or 2005. So most of their units will be selling at around the same PSF, right? And they will average around at that PSF. Then in the resale market, there's also not a lot of transactions because the units are lesser, and that will result in the prices going up slower than a project that has more units. In all, we feel that you do not have to be too worried because Dunearn area, most of the projects that are freehold are smaller projects. For buyers who wants to have a proper project with proper facilities, Dunearn House will still be an option for them. And then next, if we compare a project that is proper size, leasehold, versus a project that is also proper size that is freehold, you can see that the gap is actually healthy. Over here, Amber Park and Seaside Residences both in D15, right? The gap was 30%.
And Amber Park is more expensive than Seaside as well.
So this is the usual norm, because the usual norm is that the proper size project, they will usually be higher price. And also, if you look at the projects in the Dunearn area, the recent one was Watten House.
Yeah.
Watten House, the project, their PSF is similar to Dunearn, slightly higher for certain units. But because Watten House, they actually built very large units. So their quantum is much higher. It will be selling to a different type of buyer.
The 3-bedroom is going at about 4 to 5 mil. And then the 4 bedrooms are 7 million and above.
So if Dunearn House today is a leasehold and the price is higher than a freehold project that is proper size, then we might need to be concerned.
But what if it's 3-bedroom, 3 million? Will it be a consideration for them?
Let's say I want to stay at Bukit Timah area. I cannot afford Dunearn House. Or I don't want to buy the smaller boutique projects. Dunearn House can be a good option for them. Of course, Dunearn House, they are not within 1 km to any schools. But to be able to stay at Bukit Timah area, if your kids are already in the school, then it actually offers them a good option because this is part of the bigger transformation in Turf City. So to conclude this, for Dunearn House, because surrounding are all smaller boutique projects that are selling cheaper, it is the norm. Because in the Telok Kurau area versus Bella Bay, we are also seeing the same thing. But if today Dunearn House is selling at a price that is much higher than a proper size freehold, like for example Dunearn House, then we should be concerned.
So now we want to go through smaller units types don't make money. Do you think smaller units type don't make money in this area?
I don't think. I look at the data. So for Royal Green, their average profit is about 66,000 for
Actually,
2 bedroom.
66 not a lot, right?
Not a lot, which also brings us back to our point earlier on, because at that point of time, the price gap was quite big between Royal Green and OCR project and RCR project. Same thing for 4th Avenue Residences. The average profit slightly better, 99,400. So does that mean that the smaller units here cannot buy?
I feel it depends on the profile of the buyers, but Bukit Timah, I think a lot of them, they have the money lah. A lot of them, they want the bigger unit. So if you are talking about 2 bedroom and maybe 1,000 square feet, then maybe it makes more sense for the buyers lah, because a lot of them, they have parents' help and all, right? I mean, staying in Bukit Timah area, who are the people that are staying over there?
So it's about knowing where the demand comes from.
I think so, yeah.
And which leads us to this slide, which is Leasehold Residences. So for Leasehold Residences, for 2 bedroom, they got very big sizes, 1044 square feet. And if you look at the profit, the average profit is 400,000, almost there. So like what you mentioned earlier, the buyers really prefer bigger size.
Yeah. Maybe they stay at landed, then you suddenly ask them buy a 600 square feet. So that's the reason why I feel the price appreciate for Leasehold rather than the smaller units.
And I think that for this area, there will be some younger generation who are buying, and some of them, they also have the support from their parents.
Correct.
Usually, they are okay with smaller units, but the parents say too small.
Too small. They have to buy a bigger one.
You buy a bigger one, it's okay. That's why the demand is actually higher for the bigger size unit, not necessarily like 3 and 4 bedroom, but like even if it's a 1 and 2 bedroom, it has to be good size, so that it's livable. And I think this is where the demand is coming from for this area. Dunearn House is also part of the Turf City transformation that I think I also mentioned a few times in this video, right? So for this transformation, there will actually be 15 to 20,000 public and private housing homes, which means that there will be HDB and also private. But for HDB, maybe the majority, then maybe private houses will be a portion of it. For the HDB, they might upgrade to condo in the future, which means that Dunearn House remains as an option for them.
But I think this is like a longer period of time that we are talking about, maybe 10 to 15 years down the road.
Yes, because currently we also do not know whether this is under HDB Plus or HDB Prime.
Likely will be.
Likely it will be, but there is no confirmation.
Because so far in that area, we don't have any HDB except we talk about Toei lah, only Toei. Other than Toei, I think there's no HDB in around that estate lah.
Yeah. So if let's say it's a Plus or Prime,
means they have to wait another 10 more years to sell.
10 to 15 years.
So they were coming only on 15 to 20 years.
So for HDB upgraders, if you buy a unit over here, I think the waiting time for them to be able to upgrade will be 10 to 15 years later. The majority of the buyers who buy Dunearn, right, I think is still those who really want to stay in Bukit Timah. Then they already have their kids in the school there already. Then they want something that they can own in this area. Then they will buy, because in the past, all the projects or the units over here are very big size. And now they have this option that you have a project that has smaller size. So I think that because of the smaller price gap, because of it being the first project that will build smaller, it will be interesting. So it doesn't mean that in the past, the demand for this area is all the bigger size unit. Means in the future, Dunearn House will not do well also. ultimately, I think it's still like the price gap lah. Because I think the price gap makes sense now also lah, because in the past it was such a huge price gap, but now it's actually much smaller.
So now we want to go through the project information. So basically this developer is Freehold, CSC and Seaside House. And then our architect will be On and On. They did the jetscape, Solians and the interior. So touch on a little bit on the location. This Dunearn House is right in Turf City. Very new place. I like the area.
For Dunearn, I think because it's a short walk to the MRT station, it's still quite good. Because it's a long stretch, right? So there are certain projects that are not so near to MRT. That is the plus point for Dunearn House.
Yes.
Even though it's a leasehold, it is near to MRT.
So in the master plan, like what Jay mentioned, we have 15,000 to 20,000 new houses that's coming up. And of course, this will be a car light district. Yeah, and I think this is totally a new area that is coming up. Because in the past, I always go there for the, what's that called? There's Turf City, the grandstand. I always go there for dinner and all. So I like the place, very quiet. It's going to be a new place.
So there will be a new central open space in front of the grandstand that is twice the size of Padang, serving as a community epicenter. It's a huge transformation.
Yes.
And Dunearn House is the first project over here. So in a way, you also have first mover advantage.
Next year will be our Bukit Timah and Turf City new and next lab. This is how it's going to look like.
Yep.
And then for this, we will show you
where Dunearn House is. Oh, it's over here. Yeah. And it's very close to 6th Avenue MRT and also short distance to King Albert Park MRT. Yeah. And this is how it's going to look like the whole plan. Currently, this is what we have. Right? So for amenities and connectivity, Dunearn House is just 4 minutes walk to 6th Avenue MRT. If you are going by expressway, PIE is just 3 minutes drive away. To go to Orchard Road via MRT is just 6 stops. And if you are working in the CBD area, it's just 9 MRT stops away.
So convenient.
Convenient, yes.
So amenities and connectivities, we have Dunearn Village. Dunearn Village, they just re-renovated. Not bad lah, the place right now. They got quite a bit of food. And then Serene Centre is there since then. And then Dempsey Hill is also quite near. A lot of cafes.
It's a different kind of lifestyle, I would say.
The schools, we did mention that not all in 1 kilometer, but definitely we have a lot of schools around that area. It's kind of a school belt lah in this area.
For the schools within 1 to 2 km would be Methodist Girls' School and also Raffles Girls' Primary School. So if you already have kids in this school, but you want to buy a house that is in the area so that it's easier for them to travel, then Dunearn House is the first option. Because if you go and see the resale properties over there, right, most of them are actually quite old.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Except for the few that we mentioned earlier, but that is also further down, like 6th Avenue, that side, right? So this is the newest option. And also to share with you guys is that there is also an upcoming plot that was already bidded at a much higher PSF, about $200 difference.
Yes.
And so in a way, the Dunearn House also have another safety net to fall back on because of the higher land price. Yeah, and this is the artist impression. So we only have limited data, the developer. Whatever we have over here, we will just show it to you guys.
Yes.
So I think because it's near the Bukit Timah area, there will be a lot of trees and greeneries.
A lot of greeneries.
Yeah, the landscaping will be very inspired by nature.
Yes.
Right?
Okay, this will be the unit type. We have more of the 2 bedrooms as usual, 46%. 3 bedrooms will be 25% and 4 bedroom will be 29%. I think the 4 bedroom 29% also quite high lah. I think technically they are aiming those that are buying for own stay in this area.
Yeah, I think in the previous projects, it will be a 3 bedroom.
Usually, yes.
But right now, for this size, is 4 bedroom. So they are really targeting a different profile of buyers.
Yes.
Buyers who wants to stay here, but is okay with the not so big units.
Yes.
Yeah.
And total, we have 2 blocks of 19 stories and 3 blocks of 10 stories. Total units will be 380 units.
The car park lots will be 60% coverage, which is quite good because it's quite near to MRT, but they also give 60%. And then there will be a swimming pool, tennis court, and communal facilities.
So site plan, I think they differentiate in the two different ways, which is the Pinnacle collections and luxury collection. So it looks like the luxury collections are the smaller units and Pinnacles is the bigger units.
Pinnacle will be from the big 3-bedroom to the 4-bedroom because CP1 is the big 3-bedroom premium. Then for the luxury collection is for blocks 766, 768 and 770. For Pinnacle collection is 760 and 762. And we have limited floor plans. What we have here is actually the luxury collection, the 2-bedroom.
Yep.
This is just one of the floor plans that we have. But good thing over here is that for this 2-bedroom, they actually have a window at the kitchen.
Yeah, windows again.
Yeah. So I don't think there is anything bad about this layout.
This is quite own stay kind of layout lah. Traditional, and then windows in toilets, kitchen. So I think they really aiming for people that want to stay want to have this address for own stay.
Want to move here into the central area.
Yes.
Then this is the luxury 3-bedroom plus study. So 3-bedroom plus study also, I would say efficient layout. This one actually has a bomb shelter. Then they have a WC with windows. They have an enclosed kitchen. The living room, they have a proper dining area over here. The living space is also decent. They have a study over here. Yeah, this study room can also use as a small storage space or maybe a small bedroom.
Or walk-in wardrobe.
Yeah, walk-in wardrobe. You can fit a single bed over here.
Yes.
If you want to use this as a walk-in wardrobe, you just have to extend the door for the master bedroom to over here. Then you can use this as the walk-in wardrobe already.
Yes.
Room sizes are all quite decent. This is a queen size bed, and I think you still can put 2 side tables at the side.
This will be the biggest unit, which is our 4-bedroom premium plus study.
It's quite decent.
It's
quite decent.
Fantastic, super functionable.
They have a landscape living. They have a huge kitchen with natural ventilation. There is storage. There's a WC over here. The rooms are all decent size. The master bedroom is huge. It's huge. Got
Like what
walk-in
Jay
wardrobe.
mentioned, you want more walk-in wardrobe, you can do it in the study also.
In this 3 layout, I think the layout will be quite good, and I think for own stay is quite efficient. So to sum this video up, I think there's a lot of concerns on the ground in terms of profitability and all. In the past, because the price gap was huge between the past projects that is in the Bukit Timah area compared to OCR projects. But right now, because the price gap is much lesser, it actually makes sense for buyers to enter. Secondly, Dunearn House is a leasehold project. It's surrounded by a lot of freehold. But we also need to understand a lot of freehold, they are mostly boutique projects. And if we look at another area, like for example, Telok Kurau area, most of these boutique projects, they are selling at a cheaper PSF compared to a proper size leasehold projects. Whether we take Vela Bay, we take Tembusu Grand, or we take EOK, a lot of the boutique projects in Telok Kurau is selling at maybe 2000 to 2003 PSF, even though it's freehold. If we compare it back to Dunearn, we feel that there isn't a big concern unless there is freehold project that is proper size but is selling cheaper than Dunearn, then you should be concerned. Lastly is that the small units in this area, they do not earn money, which we also have covered. Yes, in a way, the demand is for the units that are bigger size, right? Even though it's 2-bedroom, the size has to be 1000, but this is the demand currently and in the past. But we will see after Dunearn is launched, what is the response, and there might be a change or a shift in the demand for buyers who are younger, who are okay with not so big size units, and they want to stay in this area. Other than this, there's also the Turf City transformation, which will take 10 to 15 years, but it is part of a bigger transformation, and Dunearn is the project to launch here. So in a way, you also have some first mover advantage. With that said, we have come to the end of our video. If you have any questions, you can just contact us. And if you like our video, please help us to subscribe, share, and like. And we look forward to seeing you the next time. The next video we will be doing will be about Lucerne Grand, which is in the lakeside area. And then subsequently, next one will be Thomson Reserve. See you. Bye bye.